Hello students, welcome you all in your online classes, and today we'll start the first chapter from your Moments book, The Lost Child by Mulkraj Anand. So before continuing the story, let's know something about the writer who is Mulkraj Anand. Mulkraj Anand was an Indian writer in English, and he was notable for his depiction of the lives of poor castes in traditional Indian society. He was born on 12 December 1905 in Peshawar, Pakistan, and died on 28 September 2004 in Pune, India. He got his education from University of Cambridge and University College London and Khalsa College also, and he won so many awards like Sahitya Academy Awards for English writers and Padam Bhushan. So this is all about the writer. Now let's forward to the introduction of the story. In this picture you can see a child with his parents holding their hands. So the parents are the strength for a child. So let's know something about the story. This is the story of a small child who gets lost in the fair, and he had gone with his parents to the fair but loses them when he gets engrossed in looking at a roundabout swing. The story highlights the bond of love and affection that the child shares with his parents. So children, this is the story about a child who went with his parents in the fair. There were so many attractive things like toys and mustard fields in the way of walking towards the fair. There was a snake charmer, balloons, sweets. So he was fascinated by all of these things, and he wanted these things, but his parents denied, so he moved on. But when he saw a roundabout, he couldn't control himself and stopped there. In this way, he lagged behind, and when he turned his head to ask for his parents' permission, he was shocked to see that they were not there. Now he lost his interest in all those things that he wanted earlier, and now he only wanted his parents back. So let's start the story. In the picture you can see a fair that is organized, and it was the springtime and people in colorful attire were going to the fair. So the story starts with the time of spring when the nature looks so beautiful. There was a fair and all the people were going to it. Some walked, some rode in horses, and some in bullock carts, and they wore beautiful dresses. Here in this picture you can see a child going with his parents by holding their hands. So a child was there along with his parents going to the fair and was very excited and happy. The child was also very excited to go and enjoy the fair with his parents. He was going by holding their hands, and he was overjoyed that by thinking that he will enjoy in the fair so much. So he remained behind every time. So when he was going with his parents, he was attracted by some things in the way like the toy shop and mustard fields. So the child was fascinated by the stall of toys, but his parents couldn't buy it, so they asked him to look at other things. So first of all, when he was going with his parents, he was so excited, and there was a stall of toys where the beautiful toys were kept, and the child was tempted to buy them, but his father was so strict and he denied him to buy it. Then his mother told him to walk silently and not to demand unnecessary things. Then he moved on. After this, as it was the season of mustard flowering, so the child, again attracted by the beauty of the golden field, and ran to catch the dragonflies fluttering over the mustard fields. You can see mustard fields here, and then he followed his parents' advice. In the way, there was a beautiful mustard field that is very common to see in a spring season. So he was attracted by the beauty of this mustard field, and there were so many dragonflies which were fluttering over the mustard flowers. So he tried to catch one of them and lagged behind. But when he was called by his mother, he unwillingly moved from there. So now this was the time when he reached in the fair, and in these pictures you can see that there is the sweet shop, and these are the garlands made of gulmohar. So he was attracted by both of them. Let's see. When he reached in the fair, he saw a sweet shop was greatly decorated with different sweets. He wanted the burfi, but his parents ignored him. So now he reached in the fair, and first of all he heard a sweet seller calling gulab jamun, rasagulla, barfi, jalebi. Now his mouth was watering for barfi, as it was his favorite sweet. But he knew that if he demands from his parents he will be scolded, so he moved on unwillingly. Next, he went ahead with his parents. He heard a flower selling calling a garland of gulmahar. The child again wanted that garland, but he knew his parents would refuse him, so he moved on. Next, when he was going ahead with his parents, he noticed a flower seller selling a garland of gulmahar, and he wanted to that garland. So he went to the flower basket and he wished for a garland with his parents, but his parents told if it is so cheap and it is not suitable for him to buy. So he unwillingly moved on from there also. So when he moved on, he again watched a balloon seller and a snake charmer, and he was attracted by them. So what was happened? Then he witnessed a balloon seller, but he knew very well that his parents will say he was too old to play with balloons, so he walked away. So what was happened? He moved on again, and there was one more beautiful thing like balloons, and he was attracted by so many colorful balloons were there, and he again wanted it. But as he knew that his parents will not allow him to buy it because according to them he was too old to play with them, so he moved away from there. When he walked on, he saw a snake charmer, but he didn't ask his parents because he knew they will not allow him to listen such music. So he walked on from there also. When he moved on, he was attracted by the sight of a snake charmer who was playing with his musical instrument very beautifully, and he wanted to listen and enjoy such music, but he knew his parents will be annoyed with his such demands again and again, so he thought it would be better to follow them. So he walked on from there. This time when he moved on, he noticed a merry-go-round. These are the pictures related to the merry-go-round, and he wanted to take a ride on it. So when he moved forward, he noticed there was a roundabout. Many children, men, women were enjoying a ride on it. So this time when he moved on, he saw a merry-go-round. Many people were enjoying a ride upon it, and he was also tempted to take a ride. So this time he found himself unable to control his feelings, and he watched it with a keen desire to take a ride on it, and he asked his parents to allow him to enjoy the ride. When he saw so many people were taking a ride and they were enjoying so much, he was also tempted, and he also wanted to enjoy that ride. So for the first time he expressed his desire, and he asked his parents to take a ride on it, but it was a matter of surprise for him that his parents were not there. So when he asked for the permission of his parents, he was surprised to find no reply. He turned and found his parents were not present there. He got nervous and ran here and there in search of his parents, but with no fruitful result because the place was overcrowded. Now he got terrified to know that he was lost in the fair. So what happened when he turned his head to ask for his parents' permission, as he was so crazy to take a ride on the merry-go-round? Now this time he was surprised and shocked as well, because he found no reply and his parents were not there. This time he was feeling himself insecure in the absence of his parents, so he went here and there to find his parents. But the area was overcrowded, so he was not able to search his parents there. He also ran towards a shrine, but he was pushed back by the crowd. Now he felt nervous. He was crying for his parents by saying, "I want my mother, I want my father." Now he only wanted his parents this time. So after finding himself alone, he got nervous and he started crying, and tears rolled down his eyes. Suddenly, a kind-hearted man took him up in his arms and tried to console him. He asked him if he would like to enjoy a ride on the swing, but the child sobbed and said, "I want my mother, I want my father." So children, the child was so terrified by finding himself alone. He was crying and crying. His eyes were full of tears. At the same time, a kind person came and he asked that why was he crying, but he was unable to answer him. He was only sobbing. and he wanted his parents at that time. The man lifted him in his arms and hugged him tightly. He tried to soothe him, and he also offered him a ride on the merry-go-round, but this time he denied by saying that only I want my mother and father. I don't want anything this time. So children, you can see that in the presence of the parents he wanted everything, like he wanted to listen the music by the snake charmer. He also wanted to go into the mustard fields. He also wanted to uh, take burfi from the sweet shop, but this time he didn't want anything. He only wanted his parents, and that's why he was crying and crying. So you can see this is the strong bond or the connection between the parents and their children, you can see in this story. So when the child denied to take a ride on the merry-go-round, the person offered him so many things like sweets, balloons and garland, but he denied for everything. Let's see. The man offered him sweets, balloons and garlands and so many things to make him happy, but he was crying and crying by saying, I want my mother, I want my father. He was very sad after losing his parents. He was missing them too much. He wanted to find them back and hold their hands again like this. So, children, you can see that the man took him to the flower seller and sweet shop and balloon seller also, so that he can make him happier, but he was failed in his every effort. This time he had lost his interest in everything. He refused for everything. These things had lost their charm from him. Whenever he was asked to buy anything that he wanted earlier, he only repeated his words and requested him to search for his parents only. He only wanted his parents that time. So you can see, children, that how important are parents for us. Their presence give us a mental support, and we feel safe in their company. So we should always remember that the parents are the beautiful gift of God for us, and we should not disobey them. So this is the main thing that is described in this chapter. Hope that this chapter is clear to all of you. So now we will discuss the theme of this chapter. The theme is that the story is based on the theme of the close bond that children share with their parents. The lost child forgets all about his desires and longings. He only wants to meet his parents. Everything else loses its significance, and the only thing that matters is his wish to be reunited with his parents. So children, you can see in this story that the child was feeling safe in the company of his parents, but when he was lost, he was feeling himself alone, and everything that he wanted earlier, like sweet, balloons and listen the music of the snake charmer and take a ride on the merry-go-round, all these things lost its significance for him when his parents were not there. So the parents are the most precious gift of God to us. This is the basic theme of this chapter. The message is that this story tells about the significant place of parents in the life of a child. As a child wanted everything in the presence of his parents, but when he was lost, he wished for nothing except his parents. So you can see the message is the same like the theme, that our parents have the significant place. So we should respect our parents and we should not disobey them. So hope that this chapter is clear to you, children. Thank you. Now there are some practice questions that you have to answer, like what was the child always lagging behind his parents? What was the reason that the child was lagged behind? Why did the child not ask for his favorite burfi, though he was too interested to buy this burfi, but even he didn't demand? Why? You have to answer. What made the child resist the desire to ask for a balloon? You have to answer this question also. Where did the child get separated from his parents and how? You have to describe the place and the situation, that how he was separated. How did the child react when he realized that he had lost his parents? What was the reaction of the child? You have to describe. How can you say that the child was an obedient boy? Though the child wished to demand everything, but even that he didn't demand. Why? You have to describe. Where and when did the child meet a kind-hearted person? Do you think in the end the child was reunited with his parents, who according to you had helped him? So these are some questions that you have to answer. Thank you, children. Now you can utilize your time by learning new things at home. Happy learning to you.